Welcome back to She Can, where women lead by example. We interview women from all walks of life about their journeys to hear their stories, insights, and experiences to support and guide others. Because it's easier to be what you can see. And I'm really excited to talk to Erica Carrico today. Erica, welcome to She Can. You're an award-winning soul business mentor, an international coach of the year in 2020, and you're working with women who are ready to transform their lives by creating 6 or 7-figure soul-aligned businesses so they can have the impact that they're destined to have. It's your mission to help women discover their life purpose and build and scale their soul-aligned businesses and make money so they can earn a living with what they love. Tell us a little bit more about your journey, Erica, and how you got to this place and building up a 7-figure coaching business and leading with your story, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for that beautiful intro. I think I was, sort of that person that didn't ever really know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was, after college, I graduated and I went to Europe and spent a year backpacking around Europe and just trying to find myself. And my friends were landing corporate careers and getting married. And I just felt like, I want to enjoy life. And that sounds terrible to me. So, I sort of bounced around until I was 25. And then I felt like, okay, society's kicking in. People are putting the pressure on me to get a real job, to settle down, to start earning money. And so I did. I went into corporate recruitment and I figured if I can't figure out what I want to do with my life, I'm going to help other people to figure out what they want to do. And, I had that sort of traditional corporate story where I did have a lot of success, but about I'd say 5, 6 years in, I just started feeling like my life was pointless. And I was earning money for a company that already had millions of dollars. And I was slaving away, getting to my desk at 7:30 in the morning, leaving at 6:30 at night, and just on the hamster wheel of what am I doing here? This is not why my soul came to this planet. And I knew that I was here for something so much greater than that. And so, long story short, I ended up leaving corporate and I went on a year-long trip through like Southeast Asia, through China, through Africa. And on that trip, I realized I would never go back into corporate, that no matter what I did, I wanted to be of service really for the rest of my life. And I had seen a life coach before I quit my job. And that was getting into that coaching space as a client really shifted a lot for me. And I had decided on that trip that I would love to move into coaching. I had a degree in psychology and kind of it just made sense. But I was getting married and I was getting ready to start a family. And everybody was like, you can't start your own business, especially not in the coaching space. We need you to get a real job. So I did what society deemed safe. And I went and took out a $60,000 loan, went to grad school, got a master's degree, to then move into working in the not-for-profit industry, which was also a $70,000 pay cut from my corporate career. And
Wow.
I thought that was winning. I was making a
Mm.
difference in the world. I was finally feeling like I was living something closer to my purpose. But then, 5 years later, here I was at that crossroads again of I am still working and slaving away to build somebody else's dream. I'm not
Mm.
doing what I was here to do. And that was when, bam, I got a kidney cancer diagnosis when I had a toddler and I was breastfeeding my baby. And that was really the wake-up call that I needed to just say, hey, the life you're living is literally killing you. You are not listening to your heart. You are not listening to your soul, and you are dying because of it. And I had to make some real changes. And I took the spiritual journey of, this is a real testimony to if I'm going to be here and if I'm going to live this life, it's my responsibility to use my gifts and to do the work that I was here to do. And so I made this promise to God or divine or source or whoever it is that you pray to. And I said, if I live and no matter how long I live, I will be of service in my own way, the rest of my time here. And that is when my business was birthed.
Erika, it's a very touching story. Tell us a little bit. Do you feel you have been on a spiritual path beforehand? Did your cancer diagnosis get you to this 0 point where you know you have to reset because what you've been doing before isn't working? Tell us a little bit how you got to this point where you talk a lot about soul business, and you really align it with a higher something. It's not just about business coaching or life
Right.
coaching. It's really much deeper than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say I majored in psychology in when I was at university, and I think I always was in the self-development space. Like I was always a self-help junkie, and all the books that I read in my 20s were, like Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now, and I was really trying to I don't know, I just had this natural instinct and desire to be in that space. And I think it wasn't probably until maybe I grew up Christian and sort of in that religious space. And I always felt like more of an outsider in that world. And so I kind of let it go in my 20s. But I think it was right around 2011 when I had my first baby that I had this spiritual experience of like, wow, we really are, there really truly is magic here on earth. And we really truly are spiritual beings having a human journey and not the other way around.
Mm.
And so I think it was always there, but it wasn't really activated until I had my first child. And then it wasn't really activated until I had cancer. And it was like, I have to reconnect to source here. I felt yeah, like I had just been doing life on my own and making decisions for myself based on what other people, expectations of me were. And I needed to course correct and remember that, we're here for a bigger purpose and a bigger reason. And I had to reconnect to that. And that really happened during cancer. But, sort of was in that space all along.
Yeah. Erica, I want to talk about your business, and we're going to do that in a second, but I feel we have to honor this cancer diagnosis. Tell us a little bit about how you maneuvered this time in your life where you were married. So you were a wife, you were a mom to two small children, you got this devastating diagnosis. Tell us a bit about that time and how you managed that time. That's a lot. And then you burst also a business.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost makes me emotional. Just thinking back on that time, there was a moment where I was in my daughter's room. She was a baby and she was nursing. She might have must have been about a year. And I looked down at her and she just looked up at me with these big blue eyes and she just
Mm.
smiled. And I just burst into tears and it was like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me now? This happens to like older women, not women who are in their early 30s.
Mm.
And, I had this real moment of almost like this whisper in my ear. And I know it was Source speaking to me, and it was like remission. And I kept kind of hearing the words remission. And I was like, but I don't know if I'm in remission. I don't know if this cancer is going to come back or go away. And then I heard, remember why you're here. Remember your mission. Remember why you're here. And that I just had like full body goosebumps at the time. And it was like, okay, I have gotten so far away from why I came to earth, as a soul and as a human and what I am here to do and what my purpose really truly is. And I knew that the cancer diagnosis, looking back now, it was a blessing. But during those first 2 to 3 years, absolutely the scariest time in my life. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I could die and my own mortality and the fact that I might not see my kids grow up,
Mm.
and the fact that I had this whole legacy inside of me that I hadn't lived. And I think that was one of the most devastating parts, was knowing that I had so much inside of me and I hadn't gotten it out. So yeah, that was that piece.
Erica, so you're in remission now since a
Oh yeah.
long time. So you
Yeah.
really have sort of healed that part of you that was had a disease. and you birthed your business. Let's get to that. You've been running it for quite a while, and you really teach other women what you did for yourself. So you are leading with your story to support other women on their journey and be able to basically birth the same thing, right? To go from a place of lack and struggle and not being in purpose to a place where they're fully embodied and in their purpose, and also making the money that is needed to lead a fulfilled life. So you take them from a place of lack to a place of abundance. Tell us a little bit more what people can expect when they work with you, and tell us a bit more about your business. How big is it now? Tell us a bit about the journey, your first client, and now you employ lots of coaches, I think, within your company, and you coach many women around the world. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah. Well, I started like everybody, one client at a time, and I started with $0. And my very first goal was to earn $2,500 a month in my business. And now we earn anywhere from 150 to 200,000 a month in my company.
Amazing.
But I started as a life purpose coach. So I really developed this process through working with clients at the very beginning of sort of a soulful journey, a soulful exploration, tapping into who you are at the spiritual level. What are your divine gifts? What is your purpose? And then the second half of that program was, how can you start a business that's in alignment with that? And what is that? What is that going to look like? So not only can you leave your career that might be killing you, but also have the impact and then create the income that you so desire as well. And that was my very first program, which is now a course called Awaken Your Purpose on my website. And there's a book coming out about that here in a couple of months as well, which is really exciting. And then my next level programs help them take that idea of what is the business that you want to start. And we help you to birth that and put that out into the world and grow and scale that to whatever size you want it to be. Some people want it to just be them earning, $8,000 to $10,000 a month, and that's amazing. They can quit their job and run their own business and have impact. And others have the desire to scale that to something bigger. So we have programs for that accommodate both.
Erica, so you work by delivering online courses and you work in person.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, what are, if there's a woman listening now who thinks I need that, give us the different levels of service that you offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're all listed under the work with me on ericacarrico.com. But the first one is getting clear on your purpose. Why are you here? And that's a 8 to 10 week course. And it walks you through the process. And thousands of women have taken that, actually men too, have taken that course, and it's won a couple of awards. And it just works. It just gets you that clarity. And
Mm,
people come out with clarity, direction, and a plan of, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to express my purpose in the world? And it could be a business, it could be through volunteering, it could be through switching careers. Everyone has a little bit of a different outcome.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the first step, right? And then my second program is called Soul Business Accelerator, which is a roadmap to having a six-figure business. And that is a combination of group coaching, private coaching. It's a year-long program. And yeah, that is really taking your business from idea or concept to an actual working, thriving, consistent business. And when I started my business, I was just, there's so much out there. There's so much
Mm,
noise. There's so much do this, do that, run ads, have a webinar, do group programs. I mean, there's so much out there, and I didn't know what to do. And I was trying to just kind of piecemeal different coaching programs together, but nothing was really working for me. And anyway, I created this strategy, built my business to multiple six figures, and that became Soul Business Accelerator, which has now supported thousands and thousands of new businesses to be born and grown. um, yeah.
Amazing, Erica. And you're really leading by example with your story, which is what we love at She Can. What would you say are your main lessons? What are your takeaways of doing this for a long time?
My takeaways are one, follow your intuition no matter what anyone else is saying. I think that is just so important. I think we have these desires in our heart and they were not placed there to be ignored. They were not, I think we let self-doubt and imposter syndrome and fear and other people's opinions keep us from doing what we feel called to do. And my number one piece of advice is put your blinders on and
Mm.
listen to that desire and follow your intuition.
Yeah, I love that. So, you're leading with your story, Erica, and that's very powerful. What kind of a leader are you? How do you lead your team? How do you lead your workshops or retreats or online courses? What would you say? How do you lead?
The first thing that comes to mind is I truly feel like I'm just a vessel of what is meant to come through me. A lot of times I look back or I watch a training that I did and it's like, wow, I don't even remember saying that. I think I just sort of open to what is meant to come through and what people are needing to hear at that time. But again, it's very soul led. It's very aligned. It's very connected and I think I lead everyone to not do what I say or follow what I say, but take what I say and combine it with your intuition and your gifts and make it yours and very unique to you. And I really think that's what conscious entrepreneurism is not building
Yeah.
something that is cookie cutter, but something that truly is aligned with your soul. And so that's what I teach my clients is let's take my strategy that I know works, but make it into a way that feels like you and into a way that you love and that feels in alignment with you. And I do the same thing with my team. I don't micromanage. I hire people that have skill sets that I don't. And
Mm.
so they're really empowered to run with projects and I truly feel like they're bringing their gifts and their medicine to my business in a way that I don't have.
Yeah, amazing. Erica, so you already gave some tips, but I'm wondering, is there any other tips that we can give to the girls and women and men listening who want to play a bigger game, right? They understand I'm in a box right now and I'm too big for this box and I need to fulfill my purpose. What tips would you give them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that happens to all of us. We end up in a box and we don't feel that that's where we're supposed to be. And so, one, keep in mind that creating a new reality for yourself is going to require you to take different actions and is going to require you to think a different way, right? So that's really the process of evolution and of transformation is getting clear on where you want to be and making decisions from that place, right? Not from where we are right now. So if you have the desire to be in a business that is producing six figures and you're just starting from scratch, put yourself in the mindset of a six-figure business owner. As a six-figure business owner, how am I going to show up today? How am I going to make this decision? Where am I going to invest, right? I think number two is that's what coaches are for. Hire a coach. If not me, somebody else. Look for a mentor that aligns with you. Look for a mentor that has created what you want to create, and go for that. I have always been supported and wouldn't be where I am if I had not always had a mentor that I was working with to help me break through my own limiting beliefs and my own patterns of thinking that kept me in my current reality.
Erica, you're talking about mentors. Now, there is many different places one can find them, mentors or
Yeah.
sponsors. How did you find your tribe that really accelerated your growth?
I would say I think it's calling in the right people at the right time. I think, whenever you're in the place of searching and trying to force and shove and whatever, I think that just has never really worked for me. So most people that have come into my space, it's been through a connection already, or a divine, someone introduced me to someone and we just had that alignment together. So I think it's come from one being open and receptive to the right person coming
Mm,
in,
mm,
and then taking inspired action, right? Like starting to take steps, and then all of a sudden that person has appeared. And some of them were more like, okay, I feel like I'm supposed to work with this mentor and I'm not exactly sure why. And I just jumped in. And then there were others, there were others where they were very strategic investments. Like I
mm.
knew in my business I was here and I wanted to get here and I knew I wanted to use these strategies. And so I found a coach that was teaching those strategies and I hired them and implemented them into my business and then I grew. So
Yeah,
I've done both, more of the I don't know why I'm hiring this person, but it feels right. And it was great.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
I've done I know I need to hire this person and here's why.
yeah, yeah. Erica, so it sounds like you're really in your flow, and it sounds like you've been in your flow the whole time. Do you have challenges? And if you do, what are they? What
Oh
are the
my God.
challenges now that you have built your business to a really incredible size? And, you've got a proven method where you're supporting so many others.
Yeah. Always have challenges. My team and I like to say new level, new devil, because it's true. No matter where you are, there is something else that you're facing. And I think, at this level, when you do have a multi-million-dollar company, it's a different space. I have found myself being more in a CEO role that I have not loved. And so for me, this year has really been about and is going to be about getting back into the work again and possibly hiring a leadership team so that I can be back in the work more intimately with clients. And I'm creating some more, like a mastermind where I work intimately with clients, and bringing that back in is really important to me. But I think when you're growing, you just kind of end up doing a lot of the things and
Mm.
hiring people, and then you end up managing your team. And that is not what I love. And that is not my gifts and not why I'm here. So again, it's like, okay, we always have to kind of come back to, yeah, my purpose is serving and connecting. And so how can I get myself back into that role, while continuing the growth of the company?
Erica, I'm so grateful you said what you just said, because I think it happens to a lot of people. And it's really the magic is in the realizing it and then, strategically moving into the position where you're able to do that.
Yeah.
What would you say are you most proud of, Erica?
What am I most proud of? I would say I am most proud. I'm a single mom, so I did leave my marriage, and I have two kids that have seen me not only not go backwards, financially in my life when I got divorced, but they've seen me completely up level and upgrade our life. And they have seen me go from a shell of a human in a career that I didn't love, in a marriage that was not good for anyone, to now a thriving business owner, and fully supporting, our life. And really, I actually sat down with an estate planner the other day, to put, my will in place and all of my finances in place. And when they showed me the number of what is in there that I now will be leaving my kids, it was a moment I just broke down, because I have been able to create so much these last 4 years than I ever would have done, staying in a career that I didn't love and in a marriage that was keeping me in a box. And so for me, it's what I've created for my kids will change their life completely and the life of future generations in my family.
Erica, it's amazing to hear you talk like this. I'm so thankful for you being so honest and putting it out there. And that's exactly how we have to lead. What do you want your legacy to be?
I I guess for my kids, I want my legacy for them to be that they will always be guided by their heart and their soul and their desires, and that they will always stay true to that. I want that
Mm,
for them, and that to
mm.
be what I leave is that direction for them. And as far as my direction, my work in business, I want to guide 1 million women and men to fully align with their life purpose and be able to step into the work that they're here to do. And I think through that and them having impact, that is where I feel I can play my part in shifting the consciousness of humanity.
Beautiful. So, what are your plans, Erica? You were talking about a shift. You may be getting back into the heart of your business rather than running it. What are the plans for 2025 and beyond?
Yep. Well, my book is coming out, which I'm really excited about. It's called Awaken Your Purpose. And that is 28 days to getting clear on your purpose, figuring out what business you want to start, and taking those very first steps to creating a prosperous life. And so I'm really excited about that. And then, yeah, looking to be, yeah, creating intimate masterminds. I'm holding actually my first in-person event at my home, and really getting back in the mix with clients, and bringing in either a COO or a CEO to manage the company so that I can move out of that space and back into teaching and mentorship and working intimately with everybody.
Erica, so what would you like our listeners to take away from your story if you had to sum it up?
That you have a purpose here on earth, that your voice matters, that your story counts, and that if you have a desire in your heart that was placed there for a reason, and that you are here for so much more than you might even realize right now.
Erica, and if you could write a postcard to everyone in the world with one sentence, what would that sentence be?
That is a beautiful question. I would just have to say, live your purpose.
Mm, beautiful.
It's really the key to unlocking everything magical in your life. It really is.
Erica, I'm so grateful that you have spent this time and explaining your story and sharing your insights and experiences. What an incredible story. What a powerful story. I would like to encourage everyone to go and look up Awaken Your Purpose by Erica Carrico. I'm not sure if it's already, if we can pre-order it. We will definitely put the links in in your profile on She Can, and I'm just so grateful for you to lead with your story so beautifully and so powerfully.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.